come down there one day and said, have you got anybody that would want to work at our foundry? He said, we need some people up there. I said, well, I got a brother-in-law. He ain't too smart, but he's a worker. They said, I promise you, it probably was hitting 100 degrees every day. They would work 3 or 4 hours, and then they'd all walk into the shower, clothes and all, boots, everything, just to take a shower. They was in there one day, and one of them guys looked at him and said, what are you doing? How do you get a job here? He said, oh, my brother-in-law got me a job. They looked and said, he don't like you, does he? Because they knew I worked at the other building. Said, he don't like you, does he? I mean, it was that hot and miserable. Mr. Bouchard, he was telling me, every time the contract come to you, he was having to deal with people, and they was talking about how they did stuff in Chicago and this and all, and he finally said, we're going to go non-union every department. They set up a picket line, but hey, when you want to work and eat, you better go. And we did. And Mr. Bouchard, he was always fair to us. And there wasn't no issue of do we trust the company or not, you know.
There was a lot of changes back then. When I first started in 95, that's when we went from driving all of our little personal vehicles. Rich was like, where's my helper? And he pointed at that truck and he goes, that's your helper.
That is your helper. In company trucks, everything was standard shift. We didn't have no automatics, and he didn't want air conditioning. Well, Jim Reed, we was buying all our trucks from Jim Reed at the time, and I was dealing with him, and he said, Ronnie, this has got an AM FM radio, but it's standard. It comes, y'all don't pay extra. I said, all right. Took it to work. Mr. Bouchard said, no. I said, well, Mr. Bouchard, we didn't pay for it. I mean, it's standard equipment. He said, don't want it in there. He said, the employees will just sit there and listen to music. He said, take it right back over there. So we ended up paying $100 and something for them to take it out. When I went to work at Bouchard, there was no paging system. We had cords that we'd plug into the phone. When Tina, I think was her name, she'd get a call, she would plug in. And if she thought you was on the phone too long, she'd just unplug it. You say, I had a friend, I worked at a gas station for 1 year when I got out of school. And my friend of mine, Wayne Jones, he said, won't you come down here and work for us? You make $2.30 an hour. I said, whoa, that's big. I said, I think I'll do that. And I went down there and never regretted it, never regretted it. Stayed there 47 years. And Mr. Bouchard never lied to me one day at all. I mean, the check was always good. Never had to worry about if we got slow, he'd find something for you to do in those days. But the man was honest as day long.